Over on Twitter, I asked you guys to send me in a bad logo, a logo that doesn't work, and I would just redesign it, just so I had something to do for a video. Now, the first person who sent this to me is Hugo, and he sent this logo to me, which was, it looks okay. I wouldn't say it's like terrible. It's just, you know, a bit complicated. I get it, but I wanted to try and make this a bit more modernized, a bit better for him, and more functional. So watch to the end of this video to see the final version of what I did, but here is the process on how I went ahead and fixed the logo. First thing I do is sketch. I just go ahead and sketch some ideas. I wanted to use the word Hugo because he's used it in his logo. I didn't want to stack it up though. I wanted it to be a bit legible. Now obviously he gave me no context as to what this logo is, but most of my followers are designers, so I thought, you know, he's probably a graphic designer or a logo designer, so I'll go ahead and make this for him in that sort of fashion, so quite modern and clever. Jordan, the video editor, came and had a look at the logo and sort of thought that the first version that he did was kind of like two people talking, and you know, I wanted to get this idea of a smiley face in there because there was nothing else to go off. I just wanted to do something and make him happy with it. So I started playing with the idea of adding curves in there. I wanted a clean typeface, but I wanted it to be fully customized, so I wanted loads of curves in there. So I came up with this idea that didn't work. It ended up as a Y, but it was a U, the descender of the G, and an H, but it just looked like the letter Y with a weird stem coming out. Then I moved on to the full typographic version of just using a clean font and creating a smiley face. I kind of like the look of that, so I went ahead into another app called Adobe Fresco, which allows me to do a bit more precise drawing, so I can use like shapes to use as guides and rulers to make these a bit more precise before I go into Illustrator. I went ahead and gridded it all out and made sure it was all nice, and then I sort of liked where we were going, but we wanted to add a bit more fun to it, so I offered Jordan to come next to me in the office, and we sort of sat and looked at it, and you know, we needed to do something a bit more. I wanted to get a smiley face or something inside of the U to just have it in there. Even using the G was quite difficult, but we came up with this idea of going ahead and just erasing the U down the middle.
And is there a way you can, sort of hint at some verticals without actually making them meet at the bottom? I don't know if that's gonna look...
Rubbish. Just looks like another face.
Faces and faces.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, it does a bit. But
that's actually alright, isn't it? Yeah.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Well, the big problems that I have with these types of logos is, you know, too many things are distracting. I wanted to keep it nice and simple and just keep it on board with the principle of just getting a smiley face in there and leaving it very open. So those two eyes, or you know, the ascenders if you will, of the U had to be just right. I also had some issues with the G. The G was kind of like hard to create because of that massive descender having to go under like a smile. So eventually I went ahead and put it into Adobe Illustrator. Now when I bring it into Adobe Illustrator, it's from my Photoshop, it saves to the cloud, so I just bring it in, copy and paste it, and I start gridding everything up with guides. It's super important with logo design to have guides. If you don't know, guides are what keep things consistent all the way throughout. So I wanted to make sure that each letter form had consistent width and consistent spacing. So I use this very quickly by just going ahead and creating a rectangle as the main part of the H, and you'll see that I'm copying and pasting a lot of these components, and this is how you create consistency through a logo, keeping the same things all over again. Now the H has got that sort of smile in there as well. Now that was just something I wanted. It's very hard to find logo designs that with clean fonts that are unique, so I'm trying to create things in there that are unique without making it overly difficult or overly messy. So I'm going through this. I create the smile not by the pen tool but by using geometric shapes. Now this is the best way of creating shapes inside of logos. If you use just a circle tool and then the shape builder tool on the outside of it, it leaves little room for error. I go ahead and use the H, the width of the H, to create the eyes. Now the eyes were pretty simple to make. I created one of them. I sort of like edited it a bit so it would round one of the corners, and then I used the reflect tool just to copy it over as a reflection for the next eye. Now I could have copied and pasted the line in the H as well down to the smiley face, but I knew it had to be a bit different. It would have to be rounded a bit at the end so it's not so sharp. And I also wanted to fiddle with the width of it, because it's kind of strange when you're using a U, the underside of a U has to overshoot, but then you have to overshoot everything. And I didn't know whether I would have to overshoot this because of the negative space in the middle of the U, the smiley U. So again, I create this by using 2 circles and the shape builder tool all the way throughout. It makes it so much easier and cleaner using these simplistic shapes, geometric shapes, instead of the pen tool if you can. Now before I go into the next part, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video, Framer. With the way the design industry is going, learning how to prototype is a no-brainer. Instead of putting flat files in front of your team, manager or client, imagine being able to hand them a prototype that's so good it feels like a real app or website. The sponsor of today's video, Framer, is a no-code, free-to-use tool making it easy for anyone to become a prototyper. Their mission is to help you get closer to real. Create your own smart components complete with multiple states without code, drop in pre-built components with the insert menu, and make your own delightful custom animations 100% visually. In just a couple of hours, you can have a new skill that helps you stand out from the crowd. Sign up to Framer for free at framer.com/Will Paterson. The link is in the description below. Now, creating the G in a logo type is a bit strange. Now, I do a lot of logo type design, and it's never going to be a perfect circle, but what I do is bring out a perfect ellipse, and I change the anchor points and I pull them up slightly. Now the reason why we do this is because O's and G's and everything else in type design look unnatural and too cookie cutter when they're perfect. Now when I bring these anchor points up and the handles up, I just pull them up, it just constrains a certain part of the G and it makes it look a bit more natural. I go ahead and test the width of the G as well with the H, minding and keeping in mind the negative space aspect of this. I wanted to keep the same width and everything, and the overshooting. It's quite a difficult process and it takes time to learn, but you can see I'm doing it here quite easily. I then start to go ahead and do the ascender. Now this is the hard part because I knew it wasn't right in the sketch, and from there I was thinking and beating myself up because I knew I wanted to keep sketching this out, but I knew to do this in an hour and a half, it's quite difficult to just keep sketching when something's wrong. So I just wanted to pull it into Illustrator straight away. Lesson learned. The main problem was that it just looked unbalanced and there was too much negative space in between the G. So when I'm talking about negative space with this descender in the G, I'm not talking about the space directly above it. I'm actually talking about the space to the sides of it, because we look at shapes as a box. When we look at a logo, it has to fit in a box. Now, wherever there's negative space in that box is what the eye sees, and that's what creates the imbalanced look. So I'm just making sure that it doesn't look too imbalanced. As you can see as well, I've used the same O for the G, so the circular part of the G, as for the O. This makes it super easy. This is what I do all the time with logo design. I use components, really, not creating new shapes. I just use components to create other letter forms, and that gives a sense of consistency as well. It just means less room for error and it just looks a lot better. It can look a bit unnatural, so it doesn't work as well with natural hand-lettered logo designs as well, but it works really well for clean, minimal ones like this. After a while, I start to look at the black, the color of the logo. The color is just when it's not outlined, it's just full color, and again, it looks weird, so I go ahead and play around with it, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, so I decide to scrap that one and basically create another descender for the G, but just using a stroke instead. So it gave me more control and an easier time creating the right one. So I just used a stroke with a 40-point width around that stroke. Now I go ahead and edit it, I duplicate it, and I'm duplicating everything inside of this because I don't want to lose anything. It's just a part of habit. Everything that I do that I'm going to make a major change to, like a mini milestone, I'm going to duplicate it so it doesn't destroy the old one. I want to be able to look back at all the ones that I've just done. It's like a process of refinement. I go ahead and put a purple color on it. It just makes it look a bit more lifelike. I knew I wanted something different to orange. I wanted to give them like this nice blue purple. So I go ahead and put the purple on him, and then I start making some edits to the eyes off camera just because it just looked a bit weird. I rounded some of the corners out, changed the color to like this blurple, kind of like the Discord logo, and we're left with this logo here. And that is what I've done for you, Hugo, and I hope you enjoy it. If you would like to take part in this, then every now and then on Twitter, you can follow me down below, the link's there. I'm going to be announcing that I just need a bad logo to redesign. And it can be any logo from anyone. It could be yours, it could be a company's, but you have to be subscribed, following me on all social media so you see this. But Hugo, there you go. Please share this with your friends if you want to see how a professional logo designer creates a logo in an hour and a half, basically without a brief. Thanks for watching. Please remember to hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss another video. It's completely free to hit that, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you soon. Goodbye.